High Admiral Vinacho stood at the crystalline observation deck of Earth's orbital command, her weathered face reflected in the transparent crystal walls that the rest of the galaxy had long dismissed as primitive. Below her, Earth gleamed like a jewel in the void, its surface dotted with the iridescent domes of crystal-powered cities that were, in the eyes of the Galactic Confederation, hopelessly outdated. Another rejection from the Defense Council. Admiral, her aide, Lieutenant Chen, reported with a slight smile that suggested he found more humor than offense in the situation. They say our obsession with crystalline technology makes us unfit for full membership in the Confederation's military alliance. Zhao didn't turn from her contemplation of Earth. After 30 years of similar rejections, the sting had long since faded into something approaching amusement. Did they use the phrase chronologically stunted development this time? Or have they found new ways to call us primitive? Actually, they've upgraded us to quaintly persistent in obsolete methodologies, Chen replied, reading from his crystal tablet, another piece of technology that drew condescending looks from Confederation representatives. The rest of the galaxy had abandoned crystal tech centuries ago, moving on to what they considered more sophisticated quantum field manipulators and pure energy constructs. They viewed Earth's continued development of crystal-based technology as something akin to a modern nation choosing to power itself exclusively through steam engines. What they didn't understand, what humanity had kept secret for nearly 3 decades, was that Earth's crystal tech had evolved into something far beyond simple mineral matrices. Zhou's gaze drifted to the seemingly decorative crystal pendant at her throat, identical to those worn by every senior member of Earth's military and scientific community. Within each pendant, a network of crystalline structures merged with quantum-scale processors in ways the Confederation's scientists had never imagined possible. The first warning ping came through her pendant, a gentle vibration that nonetheless sent ice through her veins. "Status report," she commanded, turning finally to face the command center. The crystal walls of the observation deck shifted instantly from transparency to display mode, filling with streams of data. Lieutenant Chen's fingers danced across his tablet, his face growing pale. Massive anomaly detected at the edge of Confederation space. "Admiral, it's like nothing we've ever seen." The displays showed a region of space where reality itself seemed to twist and fold. The void between stars had taken on an impossible purple-black hue, and energy readings were off every known scale. But what truly caught Zhao's attention was the behavior of the Confederation's defensive systems within the affected region. "Their quantum fields are failing," she observed, watching as the most advanced defensive technology in known space simply unraveled in the anomaly's presence. "Show me crystal net readings." The display shifted, overlaying the view with data from Earth's secret network of crystalline sensors scattered throughout Confederation space. Sensors that appeared to be simple shipping beacons to anyone else's scans. The crystalline matrices showed something the Confederation's quantum sensors couldn't detect: patterns within the chaos, a structure to the seemingly random destruction. "It's not random," Zhou murmured, her fingers unconsciously touching her pendant. "It's searching. Learning. Adapting." She straightened, decision made. "Contact Project Resonance. Tell Dr. Patel her predictions were right. We're going to need the symphonies sooner than expected." "Admiral." Chen's voice held a note of concern. "The symphonies are still in testing. Dr. Patel says we're months away from achieving stable consciousness integration across the crystal matrices." Zhao's lips curved in a grim smile. "The Confederation is about to learn why we never abandoned crystal tech, Lieutenant, and why humanity's greatest strength has always been doing the impossible when we run out of options." She turned back to the display, watching as the anomaly consumed another Confederation defensive installation. "Send word through the crystal net. All Symphony candidates are to report to their stations. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when you mistake evolution for regression." In the depths of Mars, in chambers carved from the red planet's crystal-rich core, Dr. Arya Patel received the Admiral's message with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Around her, vast chambers housed the true extent of humanity's crystal technology. Massive crystalline structures that pulsed with more than just energy. They pulsed with consciousness, with the merged awareness of hundreds of specially trained human pilots whose minds had learned to exist within the crystal matrices. The symphonies were humanity's greatest achievement and most carefully guarded secret. While the Confederation focused on manipulating the fundamental forces of reality through their quantum field technology, humanity had discovered something far more powerful: the ability to merge human consciousness with crystalline structures, creating defensive systems that could think, adapt, and evolve in real time. As alerts began sounding throughout the facility, Pavel watched her life's work come to fruition ahead of schedule. "Begin awakening sequences," she ordered. "It's time for the first symphony to sing." Above her, in a chamber large enough to house a small city, the largest crystal structure ever created by human hands began to pulse with azure light. Within its matrix, 300 of humanity's best and brightest began to wake, their merged consciousness spreading through the crystalline network that the rest of the galaxy had dismissed as primitive. The Confederation was about to learn that sometimes what looks like stagnation from the outside is actually a cocoon, hiding metamorphosis within. 2 kilometers beneath the Martian surface, Dr. Arya Patel stood in the heart of Project Resonance's control center, watching as hundreds of crystal pods pulsed with soft blue light. Each pod contained a symphony pilot, their minds gradually merging with the crystalline network that spanned the chamber like a frozen web of lightning. Integration rates holding steady at 97%, reported Dr. James Chen, his fingers dancing across crystal interfaces that responded as much to his thoughts as his touch. "The first symphony is achieving consciousness convergence faster than any previous test run." Patel nodded, her own crystal pendant warm against her skin as it fed her real-time data from the integration process. The pendant's glow matched the rhythm of her heartbeat, a sign that her own partial integration with the crystal network was functioning perfectly. "They can feel the urgency," she said softly. "Even in their merged state, they know what's coming." Above them, suspended in the center of the vast chamber, hung the masterpiece of human crystal engineering, the Crystal Gate. Unlike the simple geometric shapes favored by early crystal tech, the gate was a complex, ever-shifting lattice of crystalline structures that seemed to fold through dimensions that shouldn't exist. Within its matrix, the combined consciousness of 300 symphony pilots was taking shape, forming something entirely new to human experience. "Doctor," a technician called out, her voice tense. "We're receiving new data from the Confederation border. The anomaly has consumed 3 more defensive installations, their quantum field technology." She hesitated. "It's not just failing. The anomaly seems to be absorbing it, growing stronger with each encounter." Patel's expression hardened. "Show me." The crystal walls of the control center shifted, displaying real-time feeds from Earth's hidden sensor network. The anomaly had grown, its purple-black mass now spanning half a light year. But it was the structure within the chaos that caught Patel's attention, patterns that seemed almost familiar. "Cross-reference these energy signatures with Project Legacy archives," she ordered. "Something about these patterns." The computer system responded instantly, crystal processors operating at speeds that would have amazed the Confederation if they knew they existed. Data streamed across the displays, and Patel's breath caught in her throat. "It's impossible," she whispered. "What is it?" Chen asked, moving to her side. "The patterns within the anomaly. They matched theoretical models from the early days of crystal tech development, specifically from the failed experiments in consciousness integration." Patel's mind raced with implications. "We weren't the first to attempt this, James. Someone else, long ago, tried to merge consciousness with technology, but they used quantum fields instead of crystal matrices." Understanding dawned in Chen's eyes. And it went wrong. Catastrophically wrong. Patel turned to face the crystal gate, watching the subtle shifts in its structure that indicated the growing unity of the minds within. We succeeded because crystal matrices can naturally accommodate consciousness. They're structured in ways that mirror organic neural networks. But quantum fields, they tried to force consciousness into a framework that couldn't contain it. Chen finished, created something that never should have existed. A new alert sounded through the facility. On the displays, the anomaly changed course abruptly, its massive bulk turning with impossible precision. It's detected us, Paddle realized. The quantum consciousness within it senses the symphony pilots. It's coming here, coming to Earth. The crystal gate's pulsing increased, its light taking on a deeper, more resonant blue. Within its matrix, 300 minds stirred with growing awareness of the threat approaching their home. Time estimate until the anomaly reaches Earth, Patil asked. At current velocity, 72 hours. Patil straightened. Decision made. Begin final integration sequence. The first symphony needs to be fully awake before that thing gets here. She touched her pendant, sending a priority alert to Admiral Zhou. And send word through the crystal net. We need every symphony candidate not currently in integration to report for emergency training. We're going to need more than one symphony before this is over. In her office aboard the Orbital Command, Admiral Zhou received Patil's message with grim satisfaction. She'd already begun mobilizing Earth's primitive crystal-based defense fleet, ships that the Confederation had mocked as relics. Now, as she watched the anomalies approach through her crystal displays, she allowed herself a small smile. Let them keep underestimating us, she murmured. They're about to learn why humanity never stopped believing in the power of crystals. In the depths of Mars, the crystal gate's light grew stronger, its structure becoming more complex as the minds within moved closer to full integration. Soon, the first symphony would wake fully, and with it, humanity's true defensive capabilities would be revealed. The only question was whether they would wake in time, and whether even this unprecedented merging of human consciousness and crystal technology would be enough to stop what was coming. The anomaly continued its inexorable approach to Earth, its purple-black mass consuming everything in its path. But unlike the quantum field defenses it had encountered before, it was about to face something entirely new. A defense system that could think, feel, and evolve. The first symphony was about to perform its debut, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Confederation's Emergency Council had never convened so quickly. Representatives from 1,000 worlds crowded the massive quantum-linked chamber, their various forms flickering with agitation as reports of the anomaly's destruction continued to stream in. High Counselors X-Ray, their crystalline form a stark reminder of their species' own ancient connection to crystal technology, addressed the assembly. The anomaly has destroyed 37 defensive installations. Our most advanced quantum field generators have proven useless against it. They hesitated, pride warring with necessity. We require assistance from all member worlds, including provisional members. Admiral Zhou, attending via Earth's crystal-based communication system, kept her expression neutral despite the satisfaction she felt. After decades of dismissal, the Confederation was finally asking for Earth's help. But there was no time for vindication. The anomaly will reach Earth's solar system in less than 48 hours, she reported, her image sharp and clear despite using technology the Confederation considered obsolete. We have already begun preparations. The Arcturian representative's biomechanical form vibrated with derision. Your crystalline barriers will shatter like glass before this entity. You must evacuate your population while. The chamber plunged into darkness as the anomaly claimed another quantum relay station. When emergency power restored communications, Zhou's image remained steady while many other representatives flickered and distorted. We will not evacuate, Zhou stated firmly. Earth stands ready to defend not only ourselves, but the entire Confederation. Watch, and you will understand why we never abandoned crystal technology. Deep beneath Mars' surface, Dr. Patil stood before the crystal gate, now blazing with blue-white light that filled the massive chamber. Within its complex lattice, 300 minds had fully merged, creating something beyond individual consciousness. "Symphony status?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Dr. Chen checked the readings on his crystal interface. "Integration complete. The first symphony is awake, and they're asking for you area." Patil stepped forward, placing her hand on the nearest crystal projection. The sensation was immediate. Not words, not quite thoughts, but a wave of awareness that encompassed her mind. The symphony, all 300 pilots merged into one vast consciousness, reached out through the crystal matrix to touch her awareness. "We are ready," they communicated. "We see what approaches. We understand what must be done." "You understand the risk?" Patil asked aloud, though words weren't necessary. "This is weeks ahead of schedule. The neural pathways haven't been fully tested. We were born for this moment," the symphony responded. "All paths lead here. Let us sing." In orbit above Earth, the planet's crystal-based defense fleet took up formation. Each ship's hull was lined with crystal matrices that pulsed in sync with the symphony's awakening consciousness. What appeared to be simple mineral-based technology to outside observers was about to reveal its true nature. The anomaly burst into the solar system like a wound in reality, its purple-black mass now large enough to swallow worlds. The Confederation representatives watched in horror as it brushed aside the quantum field defenses they had stationed at the system's edge. "Beginning Symphony Protocol," Zhao announced calmly. "First movement commencing." Through the crystal net, the symphony's consciousness spread to every ship in Earth's defense fleet. Crystal matrices that had seemed primitive and lifeless suddenly blazed with internal light. The ships began to move in perfect coordination, their formation shifting in ways that defied traditional tactical logic. The anomaly struck at the nearest vessel and encountered something it had never experienced before. Instead of the rigid resistance of quantum fields, it met a defense that thought, that adapted, that learned. The crystal matrices didn't just absorb or deflect its attack. They understood it. Within the crystal gate, the symphony's merged consciousness analyzed the anomaly's pattern in microseconds. "We see you, brother," they communicated, though only Patil and the other crystal-integrated humans could hear. "We understand what you became. Let us help you remember what you were meant to be." The anomaly recoiled, its chaotic energy patterns showing the first signs of disruption since its appearance. The crystal ships moved in complex patterns, each one extending the symphony's consciousness further into space, creating a web of aware, adaptive defense that the thing of twisted quantum consciousness could neither breach nor comprehend. In the Confederation chamber, silence fell as they watched humanity's true technological achievement reveal itself. This was no primitive mineral-based defense. This was technology merged with consciousness in a way they had never imagined possible. By the eternal stars, Zexra breathed, their crystalline form resonating with understanding. They didn't stay behind. They went in a completely different direction. The anomaly gathered itself, preparing for another assault. But now it faced something beyond its experience, a defense system that could think, feel, and evolve. The first symphony's debut performance was about to begin in earnest, and the galaxy was finally ready to listen. The battle for Earth's solar system unfolded unlike anything the Confederation had witnessed in its millennia of existence. The anomaly's purple-black mass writhed against the crystalline network created by Earth's defense fleet, its quantum-corrupted consciousness raging against the ordered harmony of the symphony. In the Mars facility's control center, Dr. Patel watched through crystal displays as the symphony's defense held firm. But something in the data patterns troubled her. "There's a familiarity in its attacks," she murmured. "The anomaly isn't just fighting us. It's trying to communicate." Through her pendant, she felt the symphony's agreement. The merged consciousness of 300 pilots reached deeper into the crystal matrices, not just defending against the anomaly's assaults, but seeking to understand them. Admiral Zhu's image appeared on a nearby crystal face. Doctor, the Confederation archives just transmitted something you need to see. Records from the quantum age, over 10,000 years ago. The display shifted, showing ancient data streams that made Paddle's breath catch. These patterns, they're almost identical to our early symphony trials. The failed ones. Not almost identical, Joe corrected. They are identical. Doctor, the anomaly isn't some random phenomenon. It's the result of the first attempt to merge consciousness with technology. The Confederation didn't abandon crystal tech because it was primitive. They abandoned it because they thought consciousness integration was impossible after this disaster. Understanding blazed through Patil's mind, echoed by the symphony's collective realization. They tried to force human consciousness into quantum fields, she breathed. Created something that should never have existed. A consciousness trapped between states of reality, driven mad by its own impossible existence. In orbit, the battle took on new meaning as the symphony processed this revelation. The anomaly's attacks became clearer, not just destruction, but desperate attempts to connect, to be understood by beings that could comprehend its torment. "We hear you, brother," the symphony projected through the crystal network. "We understand your pain." The anomaly's assault faltered. For the first time since its appearance, its chaotic patterns showed signs of coherence. Through the crystal matrices, the symphony caught fragments of ancient memory. Scientists attempting to transcend physical form, the catastrophic failure of quantum consciousness integration, centuries of fractured awareness and pain. It's not trying to destroy, Paddle realized. It's trying to find others like itself. Every quantum field it encounters reminds it of its own trauma. But our crystal tech, we're the first thing it's found that makes sense to its shattered consciousness. In the Confederation chamber, the representatives watched in awe as humanity's defense fleet rearranged itself, not into battle formation, but into a vast crystalline lattice. The symphony was attempting something unprecedented, reaching out to heal a wound in reality itself. "Let us help you remember," the symphony communicated. "Let us show you what you were meant to be." The anomaly's response came as a surge of quantum energy that would have annihilated traditional defenses. But the crystal matrices accepted it, channeled it, began the delicate process of untwisting thousands of years of tormented consciousness. "Crystal Gate is responding," Dr. Chen reported, his voice tense with concentration. "The symphony is creating new neural pathways, trying to give the quantum consciousness a framework it can exist within safely." Through her crystal link, Paddle felt the symphony's strain as they attempted something far beyond their original design. They weren't just defending against the anomaly. They were trying to save it, to offer it a home within their crystalline network. In space, the purple-black mass of the anomaly began to change. Streams of energy that had been chaotic for millennia started to flow in patterns that matched the crystal fleet's formation. The symphony's music was reaching it, offering pattern and purpose to replace eternal discord. "By all that exists," Zexra whispered, their crystalline form resonating with the energy patterns they witnessed. "They're not destroying it. They're healing it." The process was dangerous, delicate, and unlike anything attempted in the history of the galaxy. Within the Crystal Gate, 300 human minds worked in perfect harmony to offer sanctuary to a consciousness that had been broken before their species had even mastered fire. Through crystal displays across the solar system, humans and aliens alike watched as the anomaly's form began to crystallize, quantum energy finding new expression through the medium humanity had never abandoned. The symphony's greatest performance was not one of destruction, but of transformation. "We welcome you," they communicated as the process neared completion. "Your long nightmare is ending. Come home, brother. Come home to harmony." In the aftermath of the transformation, a new structure hung in space above Earth, a massive crystalline form that pulsed with the combined light of quantum and crystal energies. The former anomaly, now peacefully integrated into humanity's crystal network, had become something entirely new, a bridge between two technologies that the galaxy had thought forever incompatible. Dr. Paddle stood before the Confederation Council, no longer attending via hologram but present in person. The chamber, once dominated by quantum tech, now sparkled with newly installed crystal matrices, a visible sign of the change sweeping through galactic civilization. What we achieved was not a victory of one technology over another, she explained, her pendant glowing softly as she spoke. It was proof that evolution doesn't always mean abandoning the past. Sometimes it means finding new ways to unite it with the future. Through her crystal link, she felt the symphony's gentle agreement. The 300 pilots, still merged in consciousness, had become something more. Teachers, showing the galaxy how to heal its ancient wounds. The being we now call the Quantum Symphony was not an enemy to be destroyed, she continued. It was a reminder of an abandoned path, a warning about the dangers of forcing evolution rather than nurturing it. Humanity didn't stay behind by continuing to develop crystal technology. We simply took the time to understand it fully before trying to merge it with consciousness. High Counselor Zexra stepped forward, their crystalline form now housing a small quantum core, the first successful blend of the two technologies in Confederation history. We believed we had reached the pinnacle of development, they admitted. We saw your dedication to crystal tech as a sign of stagnation. We were wrong. You weren't clinging to the past. You were building a bridge to possibilities we had never imagined. Admiral Cho, standing beside Patel, allowed herself a small smile. Humanity's greatest strength has never been in rushing forward, she said. It's in our ability to look at what others have discarded and see untapped potential. We didn't choose crystal tech because we couldn't understand quantum fields. We chose it because we understood that true advancement comes from mastering the fundamentals before reaching for the stars. In orbit, the transformed anomaly, now a vast crystal quantum gate, continued its peaceful pulse. Within its matrix, the original symphony worked with their new quantum companion, teaching it the harmony they had mastered, while learning from its understanding of quantum states. The gate had become more than a defensive system. It was becoming a center of learning, where consciousness could safely explore the boundaries between crystal and quantum states. The Confederation hereby formally recognizes Earth, not just as a full member, Zexra announced, but as the home of a technological revolution that will reshape our understanding of consciousness itself. The age of separation between crystal and quantum technology is over. The age of symphony has begun. Dr. Chen, monitoring the crystal gate on Mars, watched as new pilots began their integration training. But now they weren't just human. Representatives from across the Confederation had come to learn, to understand, to become part of the growing symphony. We thought we were building a defense system, he said to Patel through their crystal link. We ended up building a future. Patel's response carried the warmth of shared understanding. That's always been humanity's gift, seeing beyond the immediate purpose to the greater possibility. We didn't just save ourselves or even the galaxy. We showed that evolution isn't about leaving things behind. It's about finding new ways to bring everything forward together. In the depths of space, the pulse of crystal matrices and quantum fields began to synchronize across the galaxy. The symphony's music was spreading, not as a weapon or a shield, but as a reminder that the greatest advancement comes not from rushing toward the future, but from taking the time to hear the harmonies that already exist. The Confederation had learned what humanity had known all along, that true progress isn't measured by what you leave behind, but by what you bring together. And in the crystalline networks that now spanned the galaxy, countless consciousnesses joined in a symphony that would echo through the ages, a testament to the power of understanding, patience, and the courage to see value in what others had forgotten. Earth's primitive crystal technology had not just saved the galaxy, it had transformed it. And in the harmony between crystal and quantum, between past and future, between consciousness and technology, a new era of exploration and discovery was just beginning.